Hey guys, we are here talking today about the Nike Vaporfly Next Percent 3. Now, this has a lot of upgrades on the last version, and I feel like for most of it, it is positive, which is great news. So we'll start about the upper. The upper here is a fly knit upper, although this feels very, very close to the atom knit. Very perforated, won't hold moisture at all, very breathable, very, very light. So I think they've nailed it on this respect. I felt like the previous version, the upper was a little bit too stretchy, and if you've seen any of my other videos, you'll know that I'm not a massive fan of stretchy uppers. So I actually like the upper of the first version of the Vaporfly rather than the second version. I felt like that weave upper would lock my foot down and give me much more stability than the second version. So this third version, I feel, yeah, the upper, they've got it. They've got the right materials, the right lightness, right vents. Like, I'm pretty happy with the stretch and the way that it contours to my foot. So big ups there. The second thing, so what we've got through here is an asymmetrical lacing system. Now, I've had a few people comment on this and a few people complain about it. The top of the lacing system here, it feels very plasticky, and because foot shapes are very different, when the asymmetrical lace system comes up, it doesn't always contact people in the same place. Now, where that is a little bit plasticky, I've had people then complain that it digs in, rubs, gives them blistering through this area, and for that reason, they can't wear the shoe. So yeah, I hope with the next version of the upper, they either do a less symmetrical lace system or possibly have something that's a little bit softer around the top, just to cater for those people that it can rub on. One thing that I'm disappointed about is the fact that this tongue here doesn't have any supports either side, and the tongue can move a little bit when you do put it on. Now, you have got quite a broad top that is meant to sit in and then sit through the top of your foot here, and that will keep it in place to a certain extent. Again, with the laces not being stretchy, it will, but I still think that it could do with something just to hold it into place, especially when you're sliding the shoe on, having it in that correct position, not having to put your hands in and just get rid of any creases or anything like that. It just comes in pretty handy. The next part is we're going to go down to the sole. So full ZoomX sole again with that carbon plate running through it. The ZoomX foam, it feels a little bit firmer than the last and previous versions, quite similar to the new Alphafly. The previous versions, we all know, were fairly soft, which made them fairly unstable, and you'd see all these videos of these guys running in them and their foot just excessively pronating each time that they did run and did go to toe off. They've tried to deal with that with the latest episodes of the Alphafly and this Vaporfly, and they've done that again by, I think, making sure that upper isn't quite as stretchy, but also firming up that foam a little bit. The forefoot and rear foot still remain the same type of shape. So the forefoot, we've got a lot more width on. The rear foot still remains quite narrow, but again, having that slightly firmer foam, it creates a lot more stability through the back. Through the forefoot, we've got a good durable foam, nothing that's too thick, everything there just to keep the weight down and have everything as functional as possible. One thing that I did forget to mention with the upper is there's actually a piece of foam around the back, and that makes it really comfortable. It really locks in around your Achilles, stops any slippage up or down. The next thing that I'm really impressed about with the Vaporflies and the Alphaflies is they've now come with a bit of a heel cup. Now, a lot of people say, well, is it needed? It's only adding extra weight. Does it have any functional value to it? But for me, I feel it when it's there and when it isn't. And for me, what it does is it holds my foot so it's squarer on the foam. So no, it might not have a huge amount to do with control and support, but it makes sure that my foot comes down square on the foam to try and then create that pop going forwards rather than the pop going to the side. And yeah, for me, that's great. The last thing is just the shape of the shoe, and I like what they've done with the design. I like the more triangular and square cutouts. The old one obviously had a lot of flow to it. This one here is more squared in certain areas, and I like the way that that look is going. And there's a few other shoes as well and brands that are doing the same type of thing. Rather than having soft flowy lines, they're going to a slightly squarer look at the moment. So yeah, I like it. Now, the distances that I'd be running in this shoe, look, I think that because of the slightly firmer foam, because it's a little bit more stable, I say 1500 up to half marathon is perfect. Now, I know a lot of people disagree me with that. You've got the Nike Streak Fly, which is obviously for shorter distance runs or designed to be, but it still hasn't got the same economy benefits as the Vaporfly does. With the slightly firmer foam, I feel like it's a fast shoe. I feel like there's nothing that takes too much out of you or slows you down over those shorter, faster distances. So I know that a lot of people run these in full marathon obviously as well, and I totally understand that. It's still got adequate cushioning, it's still a super fast shoe, and it still provides plenty of energy return. But I think that people who are running slightly faster or slightly shorter distances, I'd really say that you guys could get away with this as well. So 1500 upwards, I'd say that this is perfect. Look, some people might even go for 800s in it. I don't know if it'll work on track as well. I haven't yet tried it on track and whether or not it'll be too soft, but it does corner and it is a lot more stable than the last and previous versions. So see how you get on. I hope that helps with your decision on whether to buy this or not. I'd highly recommend it. As I said, anything 1500 up to half marathons, this would definitely be my go-to shoe. I hope that helps. Thanks, guys.